Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another little video for you. Just a latest rundown and update in regards to the latest on the takeover of Manchester United. Come on, my son. Let's be having you. Hashtag Glazers out. Get the fuck out. Hope you're all doing well tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us and getting in here for the stream. We're going to cover all the latest goings on, all the latest updates and news to do with this great football club. And it is a great football club. It's just been hindered by those shithouse Glazers for too long now. Thankfully, it looks like these guys are going to be going soon. And hopefully we can get back to our glory days of competing in the pantheon of the greats with the very best teams in the world once again, my friend. Where we belong. How are you all doing tonight, guys? Thanks for joining us. Do us a favour at the start of this stream. Hit that like button. Smash the thumbs up on it. You know it makes sense. Also, if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. Get yourself subscribed into the channel if you are new, and get your thoughts and opinions in and out the live chat there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and getting in here tonight. I hope you're doing well. We have got a few legends in here. Let's see who's in here. Berber, what's going on, my son? Eddie's Football Waffle, let's be having you. Sphinxu and Kingslayer, Mohammed, Abjif, The Education Tree, Hamza, Dutch Christ, Kingslayer, Kate Cadet, Red, Wizzy Sam, Primot, Vutinator, Claire Farron, Ryan Deegan, Richard, Duncan, Rajat, Andy, Dave, Sonic Asylum, and everybody else as well. Thank you very much for joining the stream and getting in here for the show. Rush Mano, great to see you as well. So we've got a lot of legends in here. Thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, get your thoughts in and out throughout the show. It's a fully interactive channel, this, and we get in and see what the community's thinking about all these different topics. So have your say throughout the show in the live chat. Also, we will have a Q&A at the end of the stream as well. So stick around to the end and we'll get everybody's comments read out. Okay, so, guys, it looks like it's going to be happening. I mean, we don't have, that much more movement, but it does look like there's, fresh news. And the fresh news is that reports coming out far and wide, Sky Sports and various other different outlets are reporting that Manchester United takeover update, Sheikh, Jassim and Ineos are to meet with the club this week, essentially, or a team from, Sheikh, Jassim, representatives of Sheikh Jassim will be at Man United on Thursday, which is tomorrow, to look at the stadium, look at the training ground, and just, familiarise themselves with the club. So, also, Jim Ratcliffe of Ineos is also very interested in doing the same thing. Apparently, he's going to be coming to have a look as well. He's set to visit the club on Friday. So, looks like we've got representatives of Sheikh Jassim coming to check out United tomorrow. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his representatives checking out the club on Friday. So, this is the report on Sky Sports anyway. It just says that Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmed Al Thani's representatives are due at United on Thursday. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe set to attend a presentation by senior management staff at Old Trafford the following day. The Glazers announced, obviously, last November that they were trying to conduct a strategic review in regards to selling the football club and also looking at different investment options. Perhaps if there was a decent offer on the table for them to just sell a piece of the club, that would have been interesting to them. But as it is at the moment, it looks like there's a couple of different really strong interested parties. In fact, as many as eight, but a lot of them are sort of consortiums, hedge funds type things. There's only really one which appears to be serious in buying 100% of the football club, which is what I think most of us would be happy to see, really, is, somebody taking complete control. Obviously, you don't need to have 100% of the club to take complete control, but to have that level of investment in the club would be very, very key. So, we have reports here to say that Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmed Al Thani is intent on buying 100% of United without taking on any debt, whilst Ratcliffe is thought to only want the Glazers' 69% share, perhaps using investment. So that is a little bit of a blot on Ratcliffe's proposed bid, isn't it? Because, it seems like maybe he'll be scrimping and saving his way to trying to purchase Manchester United, and maybe we won't have the same level of spending power that we would do, obviously, if the Qataris were to come in and buy the club. So that is a big plus point on the Qatar bid, if you ask me, and a bit of a negative on Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid. But ultimately, just getting these toads out of the club, i.e. the Glazers, is what's very important. Hey, thank you very much for the super chat here, by the way. Abjif, he says, should we laugh at Liverpool now or later tonight? Well, I think we better wait till later, bud, but it's on the cards, isn't it, lad? It's on the cards. They're already losing 5-2 from that first leg. So, you know, fuck the Scousers. Hopefully they get dumped out of the Champions League later. Thank you so much for your super chat, guys. Guys, who do you think is going to progress in that game? Of course, Real Madrid are going to smash them up, aren't they? Thank you very much for getting in here with your super chat, lad. But as I say, Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmad Al Thani is interested in 100% purchase of the football club, as per reports anyway from Jamie Jackson here. And Ratcliffe would be interested in purchasing 69% share that the Glazers currently have and using investment. So I've got a poll running in the live chat there, guys. Do have a little vote. Who do you want as new owners is the name of the poll. And you can vote for Team Sheikh Jassim, Team Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or other. And get your comments in the live chat if you think somebody else would be better suited to owning this football club. Fundamentally, it's kind of like, who do we want in the summer? Kane or Osman? It's like, well, yes, okay, one of them might be slightly better than the other, but they'll both be good for us, won't they, compared to what we've got now? That's kind of how I feel about this. The Glazers are just absolute parasitical, cancerous fucking warts on the arse of United, to be fair. And it's time that we burnt them off. I don't think they're going to stay. That's the reality. They're looking for as much money as they can get. There's reports coming out. The Rothschild Group and Co., a financial advisory group, have advised the Glazers on the projected negative impact of remaining at the club, in addition to the outrage which will occur by fans. This is from Ben Jacobs and via supposedly Rothschilds and Co., who have advised the Glazers of their negative impact that would take place if they were to stay. So we saw one of the shithouse Glazers hanging out at the League Cup final, pretending like he cares, you know, getting in there, I guess, for the glory. You know, other than that, you don't see too much of those guys. They're in their ivory towers over in New York most of the time. They don't care. They've milked this club dry. We know the investment that they've put into the football club is absolutely weak compared to the investments of many other owners within the league. They have just used United as a vehicle to siphon money out of the club. And because of that, it would be a horrendous day if they were to announce that they were staying. Doesn't seem to be the case. I think the negative impact would be just too strong, wouldn't it? If they were to announce, say, at the end of the season, I'm not fucking leaving, and they just say that they're not going anywhere. I do believe that there would be just a monster outcry from the fans, of which you probably haven't seen since maybe there was that whole European Super League guff going on, and the encircling of Old Trafford for the Liverpool game, you know. Or you probably would see a reaction like that, because we've just had enough of these toads right now. Let's get a hashtag Glazers out in the live chat. The success that we're having this season under Ten Hag and his progression that he's taken place, it has nothing to do with the Glazers at all. We've got a couple of highlighted comments in here. Thanks for being members of the channel, guys. Anthony Ong's been a member 7 months. Thank you, Anthony, bro. He says Qatar would be better for us. We need cash flow to compete with the others. We are still a few signings away to close the gap. Yeah, Anthony Ong, I mean, look, so I'm split on the situation. Thank you very much for your comment. I am kind of split because I think that, you know, in one way, Sir Jim Ratcliffe makes a bit of sense. It would be a homegrown owner at the end of the day, supposedly a fan as a child, all these sorts of things. But if we're going to be skint, if it's just going to be Glazers 2.0, if we're not going to be improving the stadium, if we're not going to be improving all the facilities, if we're not going to have that power within the transfer market like the top teams in the world should, then I'm kind of with you in a way. I mean, I think that the Qatar bid at the moment sounds more appealing because they're going to put more money into the club. That's the reality. They're super duper rich. We're talking about hundreds of billions of wealth here. And to them, it could just be like this toy to play with, which will bring them lots of joy and entertainment. But in doing that, they'll be prepared to invest a lot of their money, which, you know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, he's a very wealthy man as well, don't get me wrong. But there's levels to this game. And the Qatar potential owners would be worth a heck of a lot more money. They would have a heck of a lot more investment, probably in the club. And we're not just talking about transfers here, you know, all different aspects of the football club, from the recruitment, scouting networks, and just investment everywhere, the facilities, the stadia, absolutely everywhere would be, I think, more beneficial if we had the Qatar owners in. So thank you very much for getting your comment in there, Anthony Ong, and being a member 7 months. Let's get a 7 in there for the lad. And Rush Mano's got his highlighted comment in there. He's been a member for 38 months. Thank you, bud. He comments and says, they are gone. These shithousers are on their way. Come on, my son, let's go. It looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think that it's very unlikely that they stay now. We've heard previously that they were maybe looking at different options, whether it be to sell the club fully or whether it be to try and seek outside investment. But look, they are businessmen, and if they can make a huge amount of cash in order to walk, that's what they'll do. And it seems like that's likely because Qatar are interested, and they're probably going to be spending close to £5 billion on this football club. G-Wolf United, get in there, my son. Thank you for the £5 super chat, G-Wolf lad. Let's get a Sue in there for him. He says, Glazers out. Glazers say, I'm not fucking leaving. Us fans have a response. Say hello to my little friend. It's time to go. Shithousers. It is G-Wolf. You know, you're absolutely right. Let's rain down some green and gold and some hashtag Glazers outs for G-Wolf there. You're an absolute star, lad. Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. You know, we've had enough. We would not really take well to the idea of them staying beyond this season. They've outstayed their welcome for years as it is already. So, yes, I agree with you. If they were to announce anything other than a sale come the end of the season, then there would be a big outcry. And nobody would be happy about it because we know that the negative influence they've had on the club is just apparent. I mean, so if you actually look at the investment from outside sources that has taken place at United over the last decade, we are at the foot of the Premier League table in terms of what our owners have invested with their own money into Manchester United. They have invested nothing, basically. The only money that they've really invested is money that Manchester United generates, which should be invested fully into the club anyway. We know that they've been siphoning money out. There's lots of dividends that have been paid over the years, inflating share prices, selling shares. You know, they are just interested in money. So that's what the big fundamental problem we have as fans with the Glazers is. Thank you so much for that. Get in there, Manny Slew Flacky as well. Hope you're doing well today, bud. He says Glazers out, free Tate. Get in there, my son. Well, yeah, Glazers out, man. I mean, that's it. That's where we're at, really. We're hoping that day comes. So if you're just joining us, the latest updates here, James Ducker reporting that Sheikh Jassim bid, his team is due to hold discussions with the Rain Group and Glazer representatives and Man United in the next 24 hours. And Ineos on Friday. So the chemical group, the chemical company, which is obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid, is very, very rich as well. I mean, I've always said this. I've said that as long as whoever's going to come in and buy Manchester United is prepared to fully clear all of the debts that we've got, is fully prepared to spend billions on infrastructure, i.e. stadium improvements, redevelopment of the local area, and just general facilities, training facilities. You know, we don't want to be using a bloody 1970s workout machine like Cristiano Ronaldo anymore. We've come into the new era, hopefully. That's what's going to be happening with the new owners, hopefully. And we don't really want owners who are just going to scrimp just like the Glazers did. We need full investments everywhere. We want to be seeing the new Stairmaster in the gym. You know what I'm saying? We want to be seeing, you know, some state-of-the-art rowers and some proper scientific equipment going on. There's a lot of sports science taking place these days within the sport of football. We should be at the cutting edge of all of that stuff. We shouldn't be, you know, slacking behind there. No way. Oh, shit, the bed, mate. Rush Mano with a purple £50 super chat. You what? Mate, thank you very much for the donation, you legend. Let's go. Fucking hell, man. Rush Mano's getting his red panties out tonight. He's getting his green and gold panties out, I should say. Break out the green and gold panties. It's green and gold panty night. Get in there, Rush Mano, you legend. Guys, can we get some green and gold emojis in there for Rush Mano, man? Hey, thank you so much, bud. He's commented and said, thank you very much indeed, man. You're an absolute legend. He says, found this in Sheikh Altani's glove box today at Old Trafford. Thought I would pass it on to a passionate Manchester United fan. And the best channel. Oh, Rush. I've got a question. What are you doing in his car, mate? You know what I mean? What are you doing in his car? I thought your mum had told you not to accept lifts from strange men. You know what I'm saying, Rushmano? Oh, Rushmano, thank you so much. You're an absolute legend for that, dude. That's so generous of you. Thank you very, very much indeed, lad. Well, that's the level of investment that we're hoping for. Well, much more than that, obviously, but still, that's amazing. In terms of, you know, context, the level of investment we're looking for as fans at this club. We want the new owners to spend big. And this is what I'm getting at, really. It's like if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in and just buys the club and just buys out the Glazers and has 69% of the football club, but it's just going to run things quite, what's the word? Quite frugally. Just kind of like, we have done really in all areas. I mean, they might have spent a lot of money in transfers, but they haven't spent a lot of money in other departments around the club. So we need somebody, I honestly do believe if we're going to compete with the best teams in the world and get back to being the best team in the world, then we do need to act like it. We do need to have owners that are prepared to spend and get in there and fully invest in all different areas. So I agree. Thank you so much, Rushmana. You absolute star, man. Dude, break out the yellow and green panties for Rushmana in the chat there. You're a hero, man. Thank you so much. Wowzers. By the way, guys, I'm probably going to just keep my voice down a little bit because I'm actually melting today. I feel really gash again today in the chest and my throat, and just breathing's not been great earlier. The doctor's appointment cannot come soon enough on the Monday, but I obviously couldn't not jump on and discuss this news, but we're still not too well at the moment, guys, so bear with me if I need to take a breather, basically is what I'm saying. Betty Bojangles, thank you for being in here with a 4-month membership, lad. He says, lots of disrespect, they got you a lot of titles and spent a bit of money, to be honest, not that bad. Guys, it turns out Betty Bojangles is not Betty Bojangles after all. It's Avram Glazer in the chat. Avram Glazer. God almighty, Betty Bojangles. I've got to completely disagree with you. It's the fundamental issues. Let me just lay it down for you why they are such bad owners at this football club, right? The first thing, they bought the club with 800 million quid's worth of debt money. We are still 500 million worth of debt in debt. That is a big red flag considering they've been here 17, 18 years, but it's a disgrace with the amount of money that Manchester United generates. They're wasting loads of money on interest payments for loans and things like that, which they should have cleared off a long time ago. They also might, like you say, spend a lot of money on players. They spent over $1 billion. They spent lots of money on players. But it's only just to appease the fan base because that's the shop window. That's the front. Behind the scenes, everything's rotting, mate. So on the face of it, oh yeah, we spend 200 million in the last window and all that sort of stuff. It's pish. What about the roof leaking? What about being left behind in all different aspects? Why have Tottenham and Arsenal and all these teams got much more state-of-the-art facilities and stadiums than us? It's because of their lack of spending in all areas. If you look at all the other owners spending and putting investment into their football clubs within the Premier League, the Glazers are right down the bottom of putting their own money in terms of like outside investment, putting their own money into the football club. Sugar daddies, they ain't. They don't give a toss. They have siphoned money out. They take shares. They take dividends out of the club left, right and centre, even when they shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with owners taking out dividends. There's nothing wrong with that, to be fair, because look, everybody's going to want a payday at some point if you're doing well. But you shouldn't be doing that if you're not doing well. And they haven't been doing well for a very long time since Sir Alex Ferguson was in here, my son. So, I don't really understand your basis of logic there, to be fair. They might have spent a bit of money on players, but they've let us rot in all different areas. We can see that plain as day. We wouldn't be in the debt that we're in if we had decent owners. Man United is a type of special football club. We're one of the only football clubs that could even survive with their model of ownership of this football club, i.e. they bought the club with debt money which they have to service. Most other football clubs would probably crumble and fold under the sheer pressure of having to meet these payments, meet these loans, all these kind of things. Man United is got this ridiculously committed fan base with hundreds of millions of fans all around the world. So, and they know that, which is why they were able to sustain Manchester United and have been able to sustain Manchester United even while having us in a huge amount of debt. So I completely disagree. I don't think that we can look at the Glazers' ownership as anything other than a parasitical cancer on the club. That's it, a barnacle. They're nothing but a mere barnacle, mate. They are terrible. A piece of sputum floating in the toilet bowl of life. That's what these guys are, make no mistake. And they've got little ratty ponytails as well. And I might have one too, but at least I've got hair on the top of my head as well, you know what I'm saying? These guys just look sus. They're suspect, man. They're absolutely sus. I don't like them, and I don't want them as owners of Manchester United, and I never have done. And if you do, then, more for you, pal. More for you, because you obviously have very low standards. Very low standards indeed, sir. But anyway, the reality is that, the Glazers are not good owners. In terms of, if you compare them with all the different football clubs, the top of the table, You can say what you want about morals of Newcastle United's owners, or, you know, or ethics of Man City's owners, or, you know, the fact they've cheated, or you can say about bloody old Putin's right-hand man, Roman Abramovich at Chelsea over the years. You can say what you want about them, but the amount of money that they've invested into the football club from their own coffers doesn't even compare with what the Glazers have put in. The Glazers have basically just given Manchester United a bowl of dripping. We're basically Oliver. Please, sir, can I have some more? No! Get back to your fucking cage! That's basically what the Glazers are like, mate. They're a disgrace. Do you understand? An absolute disgrace. So, you know, we have been shackled, mate, no doubt about it. Thank you so much for getting in here, NH, with your member comment, being a member 3 months, pal. He says, people can accuse Qatar of all sorts, but anyone who drills chemicals out the ground is no saint. Exactly, NH, absolutely, you're spot on. There's a definite level of, you know, of ethical issue taking place there as well. And let's be honest, most of these oligarchs, most of these super rich billionaires, none of them are saints, are they? I mean, sure, some are better than others, I'm sure, but but none of them are saints, guys. So whichever way you look at it, it's like, no, the Glazers are terrible. They're terrible human beings, right? And so therefore, it's like, are we going to be worrying about anybody else potentially coming in when you've got the Glazers as your current owners? Most of these potential billionaires are like, probably a little bit ethically questionable anyway. They all are, man. I don't think you can get to be having $1 billion in the bank without being a little bit of a tosspot, without being somebody who's prepared to step over some people for financial gain. I don't think that you can really get to that stage. I mean, there's some people out there, I'm sure, who buck that trend, but most billionaires are tosspots. when it comes down to it, I think, guys. Thank you so much for getting in here with your super chat again there, Abjif. He says, debt-free and huge investment, enough for Qatar in. Precisely, mate, exactly. So their plan is to try and buy 100% of the football club, as we see here, whereas Sir Jim Ratcliffe, reports are at this stage anyway, speculation suggests that Sir Jim Ratcliffe only wants to buy the Glazers piece of the club, whereas Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmed Al Thani wants the whole piece of the pie, which means that he's probably going to invest a huge amount of money in the club. Ronnie Dodge, thank you for becoming a member again, Ronnie. Let's get your favourite emoji in there to welcome Ronnie Dodge to the channel membership. I really appreciate you, Ronnie Dodge. Thank you so much. By the way, guys, I forgot to say, we've got the tweet to the show. Can you please go and give it a retweet on Twitter, because it helps us spread the word. Let me just bang it in the live chat real quick. Here it is here. Oh, I've already done it. It's already at the top of the live chat. So go and give it a cheeky little retweet at the top of the live chat. I will shout everybody out who helps us spread the word a bit later on in the show, at the end of the show. So make sure you go over there and give us a retweet on Twitter if you can. Also, drop a like on this video. We're nearly at 100 likes. We're just 11 away. Let's have a like spike for the Glazers out and get yourself smashing the vid and helping us boost up there on the algorithm. Ronnie Dodge, thanks so much for becoming a member of the channel, man. Appreciate you indeed. Very much so. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's a big difference between the two potential bidders, is that it seems like Qatar is going to invest much more money, I would say. We don't know that for sure. And as I've said many times before, Man United's a self-sustaining beast. If we just had the right owners, if we just had, you know, sensible management of this club from the top down, we would be okay, because we do generate a huge amount of money every single year. And we are a special football club in that sense. We have hundreds of millions of fans all around the world. We generate hundreds of millions of pounds of revenue every single year. The problem is it's just not spent wisely, and it's sucked out by parasites. That's a big problem. If Man United did have owners who, let's just say, invested 95% of what we generate back into the football at this club and cleared all the debts and got us a stadium, etc., that we need, and all the facilities, it doesn't really matter who's in charge as far as I'm concerned. Whether it's Sir Jim, whether it's Sheikh Jassim, or somebody else, Elon Musk, or somebody else. It doesn't really affect, I don't think, this football club, because it's such a beast of a club. Bear in mind, over the years, we have been massively shackled by the Glazers management. We've had a human potato, Ed Woodward, running things for the majority of that time as well. And we've still been able to compete near the top of the league. Not where we should be, because we haven't been able to sort of have that real competitive spending that the likes of City and Chelsea have had in these sorts of teams. but we've still been up there. We still have won some things. We still have been able to buy some of the biggest names in football and have some of the biggest managers, whether it's Jose Mourinho and he's won us a few trophies, or it's, bringing in players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Cavani and these guys. Not many clubs would be able to deal with the sheer terrible management and ownership of the Glazers, but just United being the beast that it is, we're able to service the debt, we're able to still attract players, we're able to still compete near the top, not really where we should be. Once you get rid of the shackles of this club, we're just going to be like a golden eagle, spreading its wings, flying very high indeed, and unstoppable. That's kind of how I feel once we've got rid of them. Once we have the spending in all areas to the level that all the other teams are, if not more, then we will be unstoppable, because we are a tremendous club with a tremendous history, and we've got a great manager at the moment in Erik ten Hag, who seems to be doing just about as good as he could do. The squad's coming together with a few more good signings in the summer. We will be pretty awesome on the actual pitch. And then there's other areas that we need to improve upon, of course, everywhere else. But certainly it would be exciting times just if anybody was to come in and do the right thing. Clear all the debts, get the stadium where it should be, facilities, training facilities, everything, sports science, everything needs to be improved at this football club. And once that is to the best level it can be, then we are unstoppable, guys. So yes, other reports here. Qatar delegation to visit Manchester United training facilities tomorrow. Sir Jim Ratcliffe the next day. So let's just ask the live chat very quickly. Guys, who do you actually want then? Let's have a little vote in the live chat. Who do you want to be our new owners? Let's have a little vote in the live chat. See what you guys are saying. Am I watching the Champions League, says Nas786? I mean, only... I'll stick it on just to see Liverpool get absolutely done. Qatar, says Rushmano. Jim, says Superfat Frank. Qatar, says Nas. AR Dan, says Qatar. Oil me up, says Elliot Manduna. Qatar, says Sheikh bin Berber. Andy Young says Pig Qatar all the way. Ratcliffe is a fake United fan with a Chelsea season ticket. Fuck him. He's shown that he's a bad owner and how he's managed OG Nice. Yeah, fair enough, Andy Young. And also, he was interested in buying Chelsea, I believe, before, obviously, it went to Bowley, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he and a consortium also had an interest in Chelsea. So do you really want somebody like that? But then again, look, these different owners, most of these owners have got different fingers in different pies, and they are buying various different clubs. We all know the whole Qatar setup in regards to them, with PSG. And yes, okay, there may be a subsidiary of the QSI, the Qatari Sports Investment Group, which is the QIA, the Qatari Investment Authority. But essentially, there's some state funding stuff that we still have to iron out. You know what I mean? So it's not all as clear-cut as that, but no, look, fair enough. I mean, you make an interesting point. It's one negative on Ratcliffe, the fact that he also owns OG Nice, and it's not exactly done tremendous. And like you say, maybe there was some interest with him buying different clubs. Does he really care truly about Manchester United? That's the answer. That's the question we've got to ask. So Scotty Corden thinks that Ratcliffe would be great, though. Butterpants says Jim. Abjus says Qatar. Red says Qatar. David Hines says Qatar. Glazers out. Abdi Liebach says Qatar. George says Qatar. Most people are saying Qatar, in all honesty. Fair play to you guys. Mark Wallace says Qatar all day and all night. Okay, let's look at the pluses and minuses. Right, okay, let's look at the pluses and minuses. Qatar have got way more money. The spending power at Manchester United would be brilliant. Would be almost unprecedented. I think that's got to be worth 2 points, not just one. That's worth 2 points, just to be able to compete in every single area and just spunk money left, right and centre to make the football club as great as it can be. That's got to be worth a couple of points, doesn't it? Then you look at Sir Jim. Well, he's homegrown, he's British. That's got to count for something, I suppose, because it is a British football club. There's nothing wrong or xenophobic in saying that whatsoever. He's a British person. That would be good, I suppose, if a Brit owned a British club, just the way it is. Doesn't really mean that much. Most of these clubs in England are not owned by Brits. So it doesn't mean that much. Half a point, though. You know what I mean? And then also, he is pretty well off. Let's not pretend. I mean, some valuations of Ineos put it somewhere in the region of 15 billion. But it is a chemical company, like we say. I mean, he's basically Walter White, isn't he? He's basically that sort of... it's not exactly squeaky clean either, ethically. And you can say what you want about Qatar and some of the human rights issues that are over there. These are both negatives. Yeah, it's take your pick, really. Like I said earlier, I don't really care. I just want somebody to come in and do what's right by this football club. But ideally, we would want to have just unprecedented spending power that nobody else can compete with. That would be fantastic. And it's not that nobody else can compete with, it's that we've got to compete with other clubs that can do that. If you look at what Manchester City do with their cheating antics and the amount that they spend, it's hard to compete with that unless you have owners like Qatari owners. If you look at Newcastle United's new owners, Saudi owners, they're worth absolute hundreds of billions as well. I mean, Eddie Howe sits on a golden toilet seat when he goes into the changing room for a dump. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've got a lot of money, those guys. And if you want to compete with them, they will be definitely starting to spend big money over the coming windows. And they will be a strong contender for challenging for the league very soon. You just have to look at them and think they've got so much backing behind them and so much money. There's going to be so much investment. It'll be hard to stop them in 5 years' time. It might take a long time, but give them 5 years, and I believe that they will probably be in the, comfortably in the top four. I'm not going to say that they'll win it, because they've still got to try and contend with teams like City and United and Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal and all these teams that are up there. So it's obviously difficult. Just because you've got money doesn't prove a damn thing, really. Look at Middlesbrough. It doesn't really matter. You've still got to manage the club well, but it's going to help, isn't it, if they've got hundreds of billions of investment. Thank you, Mikey, for getting your super chat in here, pal. I appreciate you, dude. Let's get a sue in there for Mikey. Thank you, buddy. Says, so close to the Glazer endgame. Good riddance. Damn right, Mike. Absolutely, mate. Yes, absolutely. We are close to seeing them out. It will be a very, very positive day. In fact, as a United fan, it will be right up there with even winning some trophies. I mean, not obviously the glory days, but, Mickey Mouse League Cups and stuff are awesome. But even bigger for Man United would be getting the current owners out and getting new owners in who are going to spend. And then hopefully that means that we're going to actually not be playing in the Europa League anymore. We're going to be playing in Champions Leagues and winning Champions Leagues. That's the idea. Man United has been playing in the Europa League, guys, on and off for years now. Obviously, we've had spells in the Champions League, but just the fact that Man United are even in the same sentence as the Europa League is a disgrace. It is an absolute disgrace. There's no way that should be the case. And it's mostly down to the mismanagement from the top down. Hey, thank you very much for getting in here, Dante, with your comment. He says, nobody making billions is clean. Sooner we get on board with that, the better. All Jim has going for him is he's a lad done well from Stretford. Well, there you go. Dante, thank you very much for your comment. I couldn't agree more with you, really, bud. It's a dirty old industry at the top there, isn't it, with these billionaires? They all seem a little bit, what's the word? Dirty. I guess that's the word, because it's just, how can you get to be that rich? If you were a philanthropist, if you cared upon human beings around the world, I don't think you would have hundreds of billions in the bank, would you? You would try and do right by poverty-stricken people, etc. You would have only 800 million in the bank. You know what I mean? And you would use the rest for good. Maybe that would be the case. So, yes, I do agree with you. I think ultimately all these super rich billionaires or oligarchs, well, there's a lot of pain and suffering and toil that takes place going on there. So whether it's people who are mining cobalt in a mine in Africa or wherever, or it's, people who are being affected by oil spills and the wildlife and the landscape being affected by oil spills and that kind of thing. None of these people are clean. You're absolutely right. None of these people are clean. Mark Wallace comments, they will bring in the right people to run the club. We are such a commercial powerhouse. We shouldn't have to settle for the free transfers to fill gaps. Definitely. Just the fact we've got Wout Weghorst is a disgrace. As well, Look, I like Wout Weghorst. He's actually got passion. I like his personality. And I like what it means to him to play for United. And I like him. But just the fact we've got him is a disgrace, isn't it, really? Just the fact we went for him in January when we could have really gone and spent a huge amount and got Victor Osimhen or somebody, it's a disgrace. That's where we're at with the, with the current owners, isn't it? That's where we're at, really. Your latex Johnny is stronger than fragile Jimmy, says Andy Young. Lynette Giggs, it's tough. There's lots of comments coming through. Let's have a look. Lynette says, it doesn't matter where you're from. I am Vincentian/Canadian, but United runs through my veins and in my heart. Said Jim just isn't offering United what Qatar is. It's a no-brainer. Thank you for your comment there, Luan. Absolutely, yes. Well, there you go. It's a tough pick, but I think fundamentally we want the club to be as best as it can possibly be. And I think that really does mean that we've kind of got to hope for the Qataris to come out on top on this, because they will make Manchester United great again. They will. That's true, Nat says Ratcliffe doesn't invest in his other club, Nice, in France. Okay, but Nice is one thing, isn't it? Nice is Nice. Nice is nice, but Man United is Man United. It's brilliant. You know what I mean? It's like a huge club. It would take a lot of investment. Nobody would be happy if Sir Jim came in, bought the football club off the Glazers, and then didn't spend. Nobody would be happy, and like everywhere in the club as well, nobody would be happy at all. Graham Rogers says, I honestly wish football all had real jobs and played in their spare time. We would all enjoy the game just the same, like they do in Ireland with the Gaelic football. Yeah, I know football's changed, Graham Rogers. It's a sad thing, but it's not like the 50s or the 60s anymore. I mean, my great granddad played for Leicester City and Bradford Park Avenue, and if they won, he got a sovereign, and if they drew or lost, they got their tram fare home, mate. So times change, you know what I mean? You've got to move with the times, though. Times do change. Qatar want the full 100% of the club. Glazers only own 69%. Exactly, that's the difference, isn't it? So travel plans here. Jamie Jackson reporting that there's a sense that the Glazers have not yet warmed to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He plans to travel to Manchester after watching his club OG Nice play in the Europa Conference League on Thursday. Do one, Sir Jim. Nobody cares about OG Nice. No. But listen, that's a fair point. The Glazers have not warmed to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I mean, what does that really mean? Do they care about shepherding this club to the right owner? No, they don't, do they? It's not like they're going to turn down 10 billion from the Qataris if perhaps a better plan is presented on a table from somebody who's going to only offer 5 billion. They're not going to do that, are they? They are just interested in the almighty buck. And so for that reason, you know, it just doesn't really... Sir Jim is not going to appeal to the Glazers as much because Sir Jim won't offer as much money, I don't think. Look, these Qataris are not going to want to just spunk money just for the sake of it, just to make the Glazers walk. They don't want to overspend too much. They might be prepared to overspend a little bit, but they're not going to want to overspend too much. And so, therefore... You know, it's down to who wants the most, who wants the club the most, who's prepared to spend the most money. And the Glazers will be very happy in getting the amount of money that's the highest possible, won't they? They don't want to just get the right owner. They just want the most money. So I think the Qataris will probably offer the most money. And plus, if we're actually looking at it objectively, if you're talking about plans, because obviously new owners are going to have to submit plans, as in what they plan to do with the football club, where they plan to invest in different areas. Not because the Glazers care, but that's just part of a whole, you know, bidding process and how it's going to be acquired. You've got to acquire the football club in the right way. And so they have to have a plan on the table. And I would imagine that the Qataris' plan is going to be a very lavish plan. It's going to be a plan that involves ridiculous spending. It's going to be a plan that invests in all areas. Whereas Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you know, I don't know if we can really say that to be the same level. So I do think that the Glazers will definitely prefer the Qataris to buy the football club from Manchester United because they stand to make the most money. And maybe Manchester United benefits the most from it as well. I would say that's probably the case because of the investment everywhere. Rush Bonner says, I'm sure there is a city rule that all 3 fans can't be in the same place at the same time. Get in there, Rush Bonner. Absolutely, yeah. Is there 3 of them, is there? I thought there was only 2. Scott Corden says, we're almost at 100 likes. Thank you, everyone, for hitting that like button, by the way. Please do continue to drop the thumbs up on the video if you haven't done so. Help us get to 169 likes. Oh, Brighton are 1-0 up already. Nice. Hey, Ruddy Can't Game. How you doing there, lad? He says, Sheikh Ping Pigott. What's going on there, Ruddy Can't Game? Thanks for getting in. You guys better be worried. Everybody better be worried. Ruddy's an Arsenal fan. The Arsenal fans better be worried. City fans better be worried. And everybody else in the league better be worried, really, because if United get Qatari owners, crikey, I mean, we can actually spend money at this football club. There's supposed to be a thing called financial fair play, which is just an absolute mockery, in all honesty. You know, City made a mockery over the years. It's a mockery. They just deliver a nice brown envelope to the necessary party and it all goes away. But fundamentally, Manchester United has the biggest spending power in the league. That's the truth. We don't spend the most, but we have the biggest spending power in the league because of what this club generates, because of the commercial success of this football club. You have to live within your means. And Manchester United's means are way bigger than anybody else. That's the truth. So if you're looking to have owners that can go out there at a window and spend 300 million in one window and go and buy Kylian Mbappe for 200 million and go and do crazy business like that, then, well, that's the Qataris and that's Manchester United. Man United's the type of club that can do that and can justify it. Most other clubs cannot justify that. They just can't. So this should only mean good things for Manchester United to be able to compete with the Arshenhollands and Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City and all these toads. This is the best thing that could possibly happen. We will be able to outspend these guys. Thank you. Evening there, Five Monkeys. What's going on? Thank you so much for getting in here. Andy Young says, Pig, the Glazers not warming to Sir Jim means Jim's not horny. And the Glazers like their potential players to be horny. Get in there, Andy Young. Fair point, yeah. NH says, we are Goliath of a club, and with Qatari backing, we'll be unstoppable. So true. Like I mentioned earlier, it's the only reason we've been sort of not been able to compete at the top level is just because of our owners. The other aspects of the club, the fan support, the revenue of the club, the commercial revenue, all of that money that comes into the club is still right up there with the very biggest clubs in the world. So it's only the fact that the owners are just bad owners and haven't spent properly and have kept us languished in debt is the reason why we haven't actually been winning loads of trophies as well. Dutch Christ, get in there. Ruddy says there needs to be a salary cap, otherwise you'll always have the haves and have-nots, says Ruddy Can't Game. Only problem with that, Ruddy, is it doesn't really work like that. You know, the market sets the price. And also, if you have a salary cap, say, I feel you. I mean, in some ways, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? But you would have to get every single league in the whole world to agree to that, because otherwise the money's just going to talk and walk elsewhere. That's the reality. Like, look, if La Liga becomes the league that is prepared to spend more, or the German league's prepared to spend more on players and that kind of stuff, then players are just going to end up filtering over to there. That's the reality. Like, I would love there to be a salary cap across the whole board. I think that makes sense. I mean, it's a disgrace that a nurse gets 20k a year or whatever, and, you know, Harry Maguire's on 200 grand a week. It's a fucking disgrace. But that's the way of the world. That's how it is. That's capitalism. That is, you know, that is the market sets the price, doesn't it? Supply and demand. There's a demand, and so therefore these players and everyone gets paid this crazy amount of money. I don't agree with it, but the only way it makes sense is to have a worldwide ruling on a salary cap, which isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen, I don't think. I mean, it happens in some places, but the Premier League is the biggest, best league in the world with the most money in it and generates the most money and has the most people watching it around the world because of the fact that it's a money league. That's the truth. Because it's so expensive, because there's so many players on hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. The best players will come here. That's why it's the best league in the world. If that wasn't the case, then they would go elsewhere. It would be a nice dream, though, wouldn't it? Butterpan says we can't have a salary cap. It's not like US sports. Football's a global thing. Salary cap in Europe, and all the best players play in the Middle East or China. There you go. That's right. I mean, there's a reason why players like Oscar go from playing at Chelsea to going to play in the Saudi league or the Chinese league, wasn't it? Chinese league, I think. It's because he got way more money over there than he would playing for Chelsea. Some players won't want to do that. Just look at Cristiano Ronaldo, though. Just look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo is not playing in the European top league for anything other than money? Of course not. He sold his soul to the devil there, man. Cristiano Ronaldo, in all fairness. As much as he's already proved his point, he's already had that career in Europe and he doesn't need to prove a damn thing. He could have stayed playing for Sporting Lisbon for, less money. He could have played Champions League games. He could have added to his Champions League tally. Instead, now when he retires, he's going to have a shitload of money in the bank. He's going to have a gold-plated private jet. But Messi's going to have the most Champions League goals in the history of the game. So, it's money, mate. And if you just capped the Premier League, then you would see a lot more people going to the Middle East, going to China, going to all these different leagues. It would be a disgrace. Mark Wallace says they all share the TV revenue the same for every Premier League club. Absolutely, yes. So it's in their interests to not have the caps and things like that. The worldwide appeal of the Premier League's unstoppable, says Mickey Lund. Right, guys. Okay, let's get stuck raw into the live chat and have a bit of a Q&A here then, guys. So there's the latest news. There's meetings taking place tomorrow. We're not going to repeat ourselves anymore, but there's meeting taking place tomorrow between Sheikh Jassim's representatives and the club, and they're going to be checking out the facilities, the training ground, the stadium, probably all these types of things, and just having a look around and familiarising themselves. Also, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is still in the running for the bid for Manchester United, and he's going to be doing that on Friday after his team OG Nice play in the UEFA Conference League. So that's where we're at, guys. That's the latest. Hopefully we're going to see big movement soon. Be very nice to see that, wouldn't it, if Manchester United was bought out before the end of this season, so we can start to plan properly for next season, so they can start to, improve all the areas of the team, sign players, have ambition to sign all the players that we need for Ten Hag, and also strengthen other areas. I mean, I wonder what would happen, though. This is an interesting thing to discuss, actually, real quick, before we get into the live chat. Thanks, everyone, for being here, by the way. Twat that like button on it if you haven't done so. It's free. Hit the thumbs up and help us out. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. But anyway, so in regards to the stadium, I mean, what will happen with the stadium? Do you want a complete rebuild of the stadium, guys, or just a refurb? Let us know. Rebuild or refurb? Let us know what you think. I kind of think we've got to keep the character of Old Trafford. It's a very impressive club. I mean, I would say, it's obviously hard to know. I'm not an architect or anything. But you want to keep at least 50% of the character of Old Trafford, in my opinion. I wouldn't just level it and build a new Trafford, to be fair. Maybe some people think that's the best idea, but it's just so iconic, man. It's just so iconic. I know the best thing in terms of facilities and state-of-the-art infrastructure and all that sort of stuff would be to just demolish it and rebuild it. But also you've got to factor in what actually happens. What actually happens with the football club if that takes place? Like, it'll be a number of years before the stadium's built. Where are we going to play our football in that time? Where would we play our football? It's an interesting point. I mean, we don't want to go and share the fucking Etihad Stadium with City, do we? That would be a disgrace and a nonsense. We don't want to go and do that. I mean, I guess they could play at Wembley or something, but then that's not in Manchester. Wembley probably would actually be really cool, now I think about it. Like, it kind of makes sense. If Man United could do some sort of deal where we were to play at Wembley, it's got a huge capacity. We're not going to be benefiting the city scummers in any way. Yes, okay, I get it. It's in London. It's not the same. It's not in Manchester, but if it's just a temporary thing for 18 months or however long it takes to build a stadium, it's not a stupid idea, is it? Because the money that generated from that would be big for everybody involved. Surely the company behind Wembley, they would be very interested in the revenue. And Manchester United, with the capacity that Wembley has, would fill that sucker out every single week. Man United, with the support we have, Wembley, there's not many teams that could go to a different city and fill out a Wembley-sized stadium. But Manchester United could do that. We could fill that sucker out every single week. And so it actually makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? At least the Etihad would be full, says Bhutanate. At least we'd fill the Etihad, says Bim Berber. Absolutely. Yeah. Dan Tay says refurb and figure out what can be done with the railway so we can expand the South Stand like North Stand and put us up to 85,000. Great comment there, Dan Tay. That's a big reason exactly why. Yes, because the railway is behind, so you cannot expand that way. That's a big problem. Yeah, that's true. That's going to cost a lot of money in order to change that. But something must be able to be done there. You're absolutely right. No stadium stands forever, says Old Outlaw Torn. Rebuild. Lots of people saying rebuild the stadium. Okay, fair enough. I understand. I mean, rebuild, if you actually did rebuild the stadium, it would be state-of-the-art. We'd probably have a much bigger capacity. They can make more use of the space. But there's just something so awesome about Old Trafford, man. There's just something so iconic about it. It seems a shame not to keep some of that old character. Share with Man City, says Mickey Lynn. It's just wrong. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? Look at Inter Milan and AC Milan, and it happens. It happens quite a lot. But I would sooner go and pack out Wembley than go and have anything to do with City at the Etihad, to be fair. Luan Francis, the players deserve to be well paid for their hard work. I find it ridiculous that we begrudge them proper compensation when they do all the work. Exactly, yes, that's it. So that's it. That's a very fair point, Luan Francis. Who else is going to make all the money? If the players aren't paid, like they are, you don't hate the player, hate the game. That's the old saying, isn't it? The money's just going to be taken by the Premier League and the football clubs and the owners. And that's wrong. The players do need to be rewarded well because they are arguably the biggest part of the sport. You know, that's so true. You're absolutely right. It can be expanded over the railway, says AR Dan. Don't want a soulless new ground Old Trafford special. I'm with you, Berber. Yes, there's just something about it, isn't there? Qatar can sort out the railway, says Madhouse. Qatar can just build a whole new railway network, bud, throughout the nation. We aren't AC and Inter Milan teams. No, true, Rajat. But, you know, that's it. We don't want to share with City, and that's the reality. Let's have a vote in the live chat, guys. Would you be prepared to share the Etihad Stadium and work out some share deal where we pay them money from the ticket sales, a percentage, to let us play there? Yes or no? No, says Ardan. Me too, I'm with you, bud. Plus, it wouldn't even work, would it? I mean, how would that even work? Because there would have to be serious fixture scheduling going on there. It's just, I don't think it would work very well. Yeah, would prefer an Old Trafford revamp, says Rushmano. No, says Ardan. No way, says Vutinator. No, says W Games. Rashad says they will. Dante says, I lived in Manchester 2/3 of my life, and I've never known a train go past there unless it's a match day. Modern architecture could have the line going through the stadium, like the block of flats in China. Yeah, Dante, great shout. Or why can't you just build a big, great, fuck-off, massive bridge or a tunnel or something? You know, it would cost a fortune, but there's got to be ways of accommodating an expansion. It's true. I mean, I don't know. Look, it depends entirely on the ground, and listen, I'm no architect. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Who knows? No chances, Chrissy J. Maybe, says Mickey Lund. Yeah, exactly. What about the fixtures? It would be a big concern, wouldn't it, Thugger? It's just be a bit of a nightmare. I think Wembley makes sense because Wembley is mostly empty most of the time, isn't it? And yes, okay, it's a long way to travel for local Manchester fans, but they would still do it to Wembley. It's not a horrendous journey, and also it would just be a chance for, you know, maybe some of us Southerners to be a bit closer to the games. You know what I mean? Anyway, plus they'd fill it out. Anyway, right, let's read a few more comments out, guys. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I want to say a big thank you to Matt Rush, by the way, for that crazy Qatari super chat, man, earlier on. You're a bloody legend. Let's get some hearts in there once again for Rush Mano. And everybody, thanks for getting your say in. We'll read a few more comments out, and then we'll have to wrap things up here. But Super Fat Frank says, new owner will determine who gets the construction contract. Yep, great shout, my lad. Great shout. You're absolutely right. That's true. That's going to be a factor. How many workers survived the build, says Super Fat Frank. Well, I don't know about that, Super Fat Frank. I mean, this isn't Qatar. I know what you're saying, but we do have health and safety in this country that is more stringent, probably amongst the most stringent in the world. So, you know, I don't think that's going to be the case to the same level. Look, there was big human rights issues with the building of the World Cup stadiums in Qatar. Can't get away from that. Many people died. But I don't think that's how the ship's going to be ran in the UK, mate. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, Rajat. Maybe FIFA. Honestly, I know I'm speaking okay at the moment, but I was feeling pretty jank earlier, bud. So we'll see. We'll see. Keep a lookout later on for FIFA, though, absolutely. And if there is any more news in regards to United or anything, any big breaking news, maybe we'll jump on and talk about that later as well. It's only 8 o'clock right now. So Mickey Lund says, in any case, rebuilding the club and stadium will take a long time. Definitely, yes. I think Wembley makes the most sense, doesn't it? We could use the Liverpool stadium. It's pretty close. You what? Right, hang on, though. Good question. What's the other big stadiums, perhaps not Premier League teams, that are close, you know, are close to Manchester, reasonably close to Manchester? Like Blackburn Stadium, right? That's not, you know, like how much, you know, like, what's the capacity on that sucker? 30,000? All I'm saying is there's got to be some, like, you know, I'm not saying that's even that, you know, it's just Leeds. No, not Leeds. You know, there's other options is all I'm saying as well. There's other options. We could share a stadium with somebody for a while. Right, guys. Twickenham, says NH. Interesting. Interesting. Pig, a more realistic option if we had to move would be to stay at Old Trafford and build a new stadium somewhere close to the current one and move in when it's finished. Ooh, tough one though, Andy. Very tough. I mean, I guess that's an option, but wow. What are they going to buy? The land is such a, you know, the amount of land you need, it's just such a premium. I just don't know if that's that feasible. I think they'd probably rather knock down what they've got and use the current land we've got. But no, fair enough. I mean, it's an option, isn't it? But how close would you get it to where it currently is? That's the question. You don't know if Sheffield has anything, says Fugger 007. Well, Sheffield's got, you know, Hillsborough's got also Sheffield United Stadium, which is called Bramall Lane. For some reason, it wasn't coming to my head there for a sec. And they're quite big stadiums as well, but they're also, you know, not that close, but they're not that far either. It's a fair point. Yeah, Super Fat Frank says, I'm looking at the map. There's not many other places to put it. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Okay. Anyway, right, guys, we're gonna wrap this video up. There is a game on, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. I'm not gonna do a watch along for it or anything. Don't care. But if Liverpool get knocked out, you best believe I'm going to be doing a little mocking video about 10 p.m, guys. Fucking come on, Real Madrid. Hala Madrid. Let's get a hashtag Hala Madrid in the live chat. Come on. Let's get a hashtag Hala Madrid in the live chat, guys. Let's hope that they absolutely humiliate. Oh, wouldn't you just love it if they score like another 5 tonight and it finishes 10-2 or something on aggregate? That's what we need. Yeah, knockout loser pool today. Thank you, Heath Edwards. Thank you, Dutch Christ, Duncan Balifo, Superfat Frank, Rajat V, AR Dan, Rushmano, you legend. Luan France as well. Just everyone, thank you so much for joining us and getting in this stream. I really appreciate you having your say and getting your thoughts and opinions in about this potential takeover. Hashtag Glazers out. Just as long as it happens, we'll be happy. I think either Sir Jim or the Qatari owners will do. In hindsight, with a little bit of thought, having time to digest it, and from what we're hearing about the different plans for the potential new owners, I feel like, yes, the Qataris are going to invest a heck of a lot more. And if we are going to have a whole new stadium rebuild or a relocation or, you know, and invest everywhere, they're the more likely candidates to do that. And I think that's important for our football club. So, you know, I am Qatar in, but I'm also Sir Jim in, as long as he's prepared to spend and initially invest in the infrastructure of the stadium and clear the debts and everything, because I know United's a beast of a club that can sustain itself. But you can't deny the appeal of having Qatar owners who are worth hundreds of billions of pounds and could potentially take this club to being the biggest and best club in the world once again, which is what it should be. You can't deny it. Thank you, everyone. Dizzy Red Devil, Chrissy J, Vutinator, Rajat, Mickey, Bell691, you Don. Get in there, my son. Rajat V, and everybody, thank you so much for commenting. All the moderators like Berber, Rushmano, Vutinator. Thank you so much for moderating the chat tonight, guys. Thank you for getting in, Dante, and everybody else as well. I appreciate you having your say. Come back after this video is finished. The chat doesn't have to stop there. Come back when it's finished and get your thoughts and opinions in the not live comments section about anything we've discussed. Thank you, Primot, as well, you legend, and Luan France and Thugger and everybody. Come back after this is finished, get your thoughts and opinions in, and have your say in the not live comments. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch at Flying Pig United. Check out the website, flyingpigunited.com. and have yourself a bloody good one. Thank you, Vincent Bullock, and retweet the show. Yes, indeed. Thank you, everyone who's retweeted the show. I forgot to shout everyone out who's retweeted the show. Let's go and see who's retweeted this. Thank you, everyone, for retweeting the show, guys. I really appreciate it. It does help us out. We've had 8 retweets, man. Thank you, Vincent Bullock, Luan France, AR Dan, Anthony Ong, Berber, Transfers _UTD, aka Rushmano, and Stephen Braun. You're a bunch of legends. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. That's the end of the show. I'll speak to you soon. Come on, United! Back to the glory days we head. That's what we're looking for. Hashtag Glazers out. Get rid of these parasitical melts from this football club. We hate them. And it's time for a change. And what a great change it will be once those guys are gone, if we actually get owners who are prepared to invest and actually have ambition to try and make this club great again, where we're winning things, challenging for things, and just being as good as we can be. We should have never have been shackled. We should never be shackled or in debt. We should be as good as we can possibly be. You can't win it every single year, guys. Nobody can. But we should be as good and as ambitious as we can possibly be. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good one. And remember, Piggy loves you. Also remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, as this is because they stink, the shithouse Glazers will soon be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.